Alright, stop me if you've heard this one before. You're sitting down on the couch, watching a rather sweet and charming family go through the real problems of everyday life. Say, one of the children of the family, coming complete with their own catchphrase, does something wrong. Maybe they get upset they didn't get a toy they wanted. Maybe they feel underappreciated by the family. They do everything in their power to fix this on their own, but they simply can't. Instead, they get a visit from their hard-working, free advice-spouting parents. Dad or mother, you can take your pick, it really doesn't matter. The two hug it out, and the episode ends on a freeze frame of these two hugging. Okay, that was sweet and all, but maybe, just maybe, that could have had, well, something a little more realistic. I mean, don't you just wish that father would strangle that kid or something, or they'd completely misunderstand the point, or they'd give out some bad advice? Doesn't that sound just a little closer to home? Well, that was the kind of problem that faced television in the 1980s. There was an influx of that moral center crap that flooded the airwaves, where essentially all of the major family sitcoms were blasting out tired lessons of morality and family upbringing. The only difference between then and now was the simple fact that there wasn't much to be changed about it. Television wasn't nearly as varied in channels as it is now, and while the 1980s would later become the onset of more channels and networks to rise up, you have to understand that by the midpoint 1985 there were only 3 major networks: CBS, NBC, and ABC. With these 3 networks, there were already strict regulations and stipulations placed on television and its content, pretty much controlled through the repetitive nature of the shows that were being pumped out. Sure, there was variety between types of shows, but within those subcategories there wasn't much room to improve or expand upon the initial ideas set forth. So the family sitcom is the main focus here because it's the thing that I'd argue wanted to form the heart of America's viewers. Adorable children, zany one-liners, and a little personal crisis that could get wrapped up in 30 minutes. It's just the concept that you had, and if you wanted to laugh, well, there were several shows to choose from, but not much in terms of variety of humor. They all played off of each other, and there was a definite formula that each stuck with, one that viewers could quickly grow tired of. So, how does The Simpsons fit into this? Well, if you need a bit of a background course, The Simpsons started as a collection of shorts in 1987 on The Tracy Ullman Show, one of the new original programs for a fledgling broadcasting company that was just trying to make a name for itself, Fox. Matt Groening, having created a series of comic strips titled Life in Hell, which took the time to explore the darker aspects of life, like love, sex, authority, and the onset of death, was brought in to create a series of animated shorts based on the work. Accounts go to say that at the last minute, Groening changed his mind on using his Life in Hell characters for fear of giving up ownership of them to Fox, and so instead created a dysfunctional family on the spot, naming them somewhat after his own family. You know them, of course, but they are a little unrecognizable here, admittedly. They were supposed to be just rough sketches, but the production staff actually just used them for the basis of the animated shorts, and that's where these clips came from. So, needless to say, the shorts were a hit, and in no time an animated series based on them was ordered. 13 episodes featuring the yellow-skinned family. What seems most important to stress here was the show's basis and creative freedom, as apparently producer James L. Brooks negotiated a stipulation within the contract with Fox that they could not interfere with the show's content, which in large part gave it the ability it needed to be the anti-authoritarian cartoon that it was. Groening himself even stated that he wanted the show to be an alternative to the mainstream trash people were watching on television, and it definitely shows in the first season. The show pretty much became a smash hit, and it garnered fans and criticisms of its content, amazingly enough from the president and first lady at the time, George H.W. Bush and Barbara Bush. So, what exactly made The Simpsons different from the rest of television? Well, The Simpsons had the same setup as the typical family sitcom. Hard-working father, beautiful housewife, and precocious children. Check, check, and check. There's a bit of a shift here in terms of tone and the types of jokes told, where it wasn't so much about learning a lesson or laughing with each other at mistakes, but it was more like laughing at the one who made mistakes. To say it was more realistic may not be accurate, but to say that it was closer to the truth behind the facade of the family sitcom, well, that seems more like it.
What are we gonna have?
Well, that depends on what your teachers say. If you've been good, pizza. If you've been bad, let's see, poison.
What if one of us has been good and one of us has been bad? Poison pizza.
Oh no, I'm not making 2 stops.
The members of the family fill their respective roles, but their characterization is a little more cynical. Homer Simpson is supposed to draw parallels to the hardworking father with wisdom to spare for his children. The transformation then occurs when Homer is lazy, violent, hopelessly stupid, confrontational, hardly rational, and wildly emotional.
Oh my god, he's stealing all the burgers! Why, you little... I got you! Go!
Homer is everything the likes of Bill Huxtable and Danny Tanner are not, and the show revels in all kinds of parallels with this. Whereas the aforementioned father figures offer life advice that make things better, Homer tends to have advice that isn't quite the norm of what you'd expect.
Son,
woman is a lot like a refrigerator. They're about 6 feet tall, 300 pounds. They make ice and... Oh!
So, on paper, just seeing it from this perspective, Homer Simpson would be considered a terrible character, but that's where the genius of this comes in. Homer is pretty much one of the most flawed characters that you can think of when it comes to cartoons, but what makes him so endearing is simply the fact that he does actually care about his family. Without that aspect, there'd be nothing for us to latch onto, but that's what's so incredibly great about The Simpsons. Sure, nothing in life is perfect, and it sure as hell ain't clean as a whistle. This show is gonna tell you that for free.
Kent O. Brockman, live on Main Street, where today everyone is a little bit Irish, except, of course, for the gays and the Italians.
But at the end of the day, the little things that you actually do care about are all the more special. The show never has to go out of its way to tell you that, because it actually respects you enough to figure you already know this. It's not like those other sitcoms that have drawn-out speeches about how important it is to tell the truth, or how important it is to listen to your elders, or whatever kind of crap they're selling. Homer is violent, yeah.
Why, you little...
You did this to me! Ah!
lousy houseplant! You son of a... I'll teach you to...
But that doesn't mean he hates his family. They just drive him crazy sometimes, and let's be honest, all families go off the deep end with each other. You love your family, you kinda have to anyway, but no one said you have to like them. The Simpsons shows us, most importantly, that we don't all have to be like that perfect little family on the TV screens, with the adorable wisecracking kids or the doting father figures or the attentive, worrisome mothers. In fact, no one is like those families. It's impossible to be like those families, and being shown that kind of unrealistic expectation over and over every week, that's enough to drive anyone mad, and it's possibly damaging. And The Simpsons knows this. It gives us that chance to rise up and tell that family on the TV what we really think.
You've been rubbing my nose in it since I got here. Your family is better than my family. Your beer comes from farther away than my beer. You and your son like each other. Your wife's butt is higher than my wife's butt. You make me sick.
To say that families are more like The Simpsons isn't a bad thing. I mean, look, if life was more like The Cosby Show, then great, that would be awesome. But we can't all sit our son down on one knee, or have kids whose only real crime would be that they cheated on a test. We'll never be the perfect daughter, or son, or parents, or neighbor, or what have you, because no such thing exists. Anyone who tries to tell you different is a nerd that should be laughed at. We're all just trying our best, and in the end, that's all we can do. The Simpsons knows this, and every week it's just a dysfunctional family that's trying its best to get through the day so that they can come back home, crash in front of that TV, or get into an argument with someone you actually care about. The establishment wants to tell you that you're not right in the head if you're not like the Waltons, but you know what? Maybe the Waltons aren't right for being more like us. So in short, The Simpsons brings to mind the real family dramas. It was the show that was just so incredibly spiteful of the proposed establishment and authority figures trying to impose how we should live through the network. And they were able to show America, and by extension the world, that it was okay to tell these figures to eat our shorts. The truth ain't pretty, but people loved it. They loved it so much that it's been on the air for almost 30 years now, and it's still one of the most recognizable families in all the world. Whether it's kept that message clear, well, that's a video for another time. But The Simpsons are the fakest, realest family on TV, and I don't think anyone would have it any other way. So, thanks everybody for checking us out. Most of the information for this video came from a variety of places, including the Dead Homer Society, the No Homer Club, the Simpsons Archive, and a few other places. So if you want to read up on the family, I'll drop the links down in the description for all of you to go check out. If you guys like this video, let us know by giving it a thumbs up, and go ahead and subscribe for more original content from the Hybrid Network. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and check out our website for reviews, news articles, and editorials every single day. If you like showing your support, consider donating to our Patreon, where every dollar you put in goes towards creating higher quality content for you, the viewer. Thanks for watching everybody, and we'll see you all next time on Behind the Screens.